As a leader, you need to become a great conversationalist. You need to be able to start conversations, to continue conversations, and to end them elegantly as well. This skill is helpful at high-level networking events and conferences when you're meeting other leaders and senior executives. It is also helpful inside your company when you are connecting with your peers and you're developing relationships with them. A leader who cannot have conversations is a leader who will have no relationships and very little career prospects. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to become a great conversationalist so you can reach all of the career aspirations that you have. Start with unthreatening questions. One of the biggest revelations I've had through attending many networking events is that starting with non-threatening questions is the best way to ignite a conversation. Why? Because it makes the other person feel safe in the conversation. You see, when you meet people for the first time, they don't know you, you don't know them. There's this level of uncertainty and possibly fear about the conversation. What kind of person are you? What questions will you ask them? Will you ask them intruding or difficult questions? Some people are more open and they don't care about these things, but then there are others who are more closed, who are more reserved, and they will end the conversation as soon as they can if they detect that you're going to step over their personal comfort barrier. Personal comfort barrier is the key phrase you need to remember here, and this will differ depending on the culture that person is from and depending on the personality that person has too. To make sure that you don't offend someone or that you don't overstep the boundaries of their personal comfort barrier, I recommend that when you start a conversation with other people in the business world, you start off with light topics or with general topics. Usually something that person is going to expect you to ask them. A typical question people are expecting you to ask, especially at conferences, at networking events, or when you meet them for the first time, is what do you do? I know many people don't like this question because it is so common and they feel it's a bit boring. They want to ask something a bit more exotic, a bit more creative. But the thing with this question is that the other person will expect you to ask them this question. The purpose of asking them this question is simply to get them talking, simply to get them comfortable around you. And when they become more comfortable around you, they will gradually lower their natural defense mechanism, their personal comfort barrier. They will lower that. They'll feel more open to the questions that you ask them, and then you can go in with deeper topics later on. Number 2, stop focusing on what you are going to say next. So once the conversation is ignited, once the other person is talking to you, what I want you to do is to stop focusing on what you are going to say next. And instead, I want you to focus only on what that person is telling you. This means that instead of focusing on you in the conversation, you need to shift the focus to the other person. This can be really hard, especially if you're in a conversation with somebody new. Most of us are guilty of this. I know I am. We get so preoccupied with what that other person thinks of us. Do we sound intelligent to them? Do they find us interesting or not? Maybe we're a little bit boring. We're so preoccupied with these things that we're not focusing on the other person. We're missing the whole conversation and all of the clues that person is leaving us that can lead to further or deeper conversation topics. Plus, the other person will pick up on your lack of attention through micro expressions on your face or a slight lag in your verbal response, and they will know that you're not really with them in the conversation. I know it's hard, but try to shift the focus from you to the other person you are talking to. Really listen to what they're saying. Pick out interesting things that they are telling you about, things that surprise you. Clarify what you don't understand or ask questions to dig deeper. Basically, look for the main message in what they are telling you and respond to that. Because sometimes people will communicate in a roundabout way, especially in casual conversations. Rather than get straight to the point, they might take some detours and slightly go off topic here and there. Your challenge as a conversation listener is to keep track of the main message that person is telling you about, despite all of these detours they are giving you, and you need to respond to that main message because this is what's going to keep that conversation going. If you like what you've learned so far about how to have better conversations with people in business, then you will definitely enjoy my podcast, The Leadership Pod. I talk about similar topics to what you find on this channel, but you can learn while you're driving, while you are running, or while you're cleaning the house. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, all of the major podcasting platforms. I will put a link in the description below for you. Respond to their main message. Responding appropriately in conversations is just like putting petrol in your car. Your car won't go anywhere without petrol. Similarly, in a conversation, the conversation won't go anywhere unless you fuel it with an adequate response. There are two ways you can respond to what that other person is saying to you in the conversation. You can respond verbally or you can respond non-verbally. When you're looking at responding verbally, this does depend on what the other person is actually telling you. It differs from conversation to conversation, so I can't tell you exactly what you should say right here in this video, but I can give you a guideline to follow. Ask questions if you don't understand what that person means or if you don't understand what they are talking to you about. Add your thoughts or your opinions on what they have just said to you. Suggest some next steps if they are facing a problem or a struggle and you think you can help. Suggest some steps they can take to overcome this issue. And if all else fails, if you really cannot think of what to say or what kind of response to give that person in the conversation, you can simply use general responses like, I see what you're saying, or is that so? Is that right? I understand your perspective. When you're looking at nonverbal responses, you can nod your head because this indicates to the other person that you are following what they're saying to you. You can tilt your head to the side. This indicates that you are curious or that you want to know more about what they're saying to you. You can smile in the conversation to show that you hear them, you understand, or maybe that you're in agreement to what they're saying. And also face your feet directly toward that person because this shows and indicates that you're really interested in what they're telling you and you don't have any intention of going anywhere else. You basically want that person to know and to feel that you are enjoying that conversation with them, that you're really interested in what they're saying to you, and that you are eager to know more. These kinds of responses will help that person to understand that you're enjoying that conversation with them. This will help them to feel more comfortable in that conversation. They will lower their natural defense mechanism, their natural personal comfort barrier, and they'll stop focusing on themselves because they will know that you are enjoying the conversation. You are not judging them negatively in any way. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, we tend to focus on ourselves in conversations. You do this yourself, and the other person you are talking with, they will absolutely be doing this too. So by making sure they feel you are enjoying the conversation, this will help them to focus on the conversation or on you as a conversation partner too. And when it's time to wind down the conversation, when you've run out of things to say or when you want to go and talk to someone else, you need to end the conversation gracefully. The most elegant conversationalists that I have witnessed have an amazing ability to seamlessly transition into the closing of a conversation by expressing how much they have enjoyed that conversation with you. Martin, it was really enjoyable to hear about how you became a journalist. Bethany, I'll certainly remember our conversation about your time working abroad. And by doing this, you take back control of the conversation so you can steer it to a close by saying something like this. I need to talk to someone over there before they leave, but let's connect on LinkedIn. I have to get going now, but do you have a business card so I have your contact details? And just like that, you have ended the conversation with a positive impression. Now, if you're at a networking event or a conference, there are some other tips that you will need to know about, like who to talk to or how to break into a group conversation when everybody is standing together. Those tips are revealed in this video up here on networking etiquette. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed and got a lot of valuable tips on how to become a great conversationalist. It's really not that difficult at all. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, please hit the like button below, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know every week when I release a new video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next week in another video.